Hey everyone, I wanted to talk a bit about the legendary market. I know this is probably late in coming. I actually started off late with it as well. Uh, However, I think it might be at a point where it's it's kind of a flip of a coin whether you should get into it or not. I was going to show you what I did. I started with the Shadow Gas Greaves, and you can see I've made quite a few sales. I don't think I've have any more than past before 60 days. But the problem with this market is that the rank ones, anybody can go out there if they've got blacksmithing. They've leveled to 60. Odds are that they can make the rank ones. The problem is the rank ones are not, uh, in a lot of cases, not profitable. So I think I've actually sold all of mine. I actually divide, and then this is an aside. I divide mine up. So my main character has uh, actually created a legendary, uh, but it's showing up in my bags. Anyway, so I send my 190s to one character. I send my 210s to my demon hunter, and then I send my 225s and 235s to my mage. And so that gives me an idea. It's like, okay, who's got what? What do I have left to sell of each one? I think on my mage I've got 10. I think I've got like two of so. I think I have two of the 235s, and the rest are 225s. I've got a little chart. Some notes I'm keeping as to what I have of each. So it might even behoove me to create another character or have another character that just handles the 235s, and then have that way I can quickly see. It's like, hey, who's got what, um, all that other stuff there. So anyway, so I wanted to look. I think I calculated out what it cost for me to create all these greaves. I think I came up with like a number of 600,000. So I've actually broken even. The problem with the market right now is it's very competitive, and even with the high end stuff, it's just um, I've got a couple of guys that are on all day long. I don't see him. One is a horde guy, so I can't tell if he's on or not. One thing I have been doing is, let me actually go out here and do a search. Shadow Gast Greaves. I'm going to look at the 235s. 35. Um, I'm actually on top. So one thing I've been doing is I'm setting the bid price quite a bit lower, and what I'm hoping for is somebody will see that and they'll bid on it, and hopefully what happens there is, actually I'm quite a bit lower on the buyout as well. So that's another thing I've kind of been doing, is I've been kind of pushing the market down. So you can see here, this should be more closer to about 60,000, 65,000 area. This market's been dominated by a few people, and they've been driving the price up higher and higher. And that, what ends up happening is that drives people to individuals, or they talk in trade chat, to instead of just buying the stuff off the auction house. So I'm kind of also hoping to maybe spur some auction house sales in the process. But one way I've been, like this gold cap guy, he's been on like all day and all night. I actually monitor when I'm playing on my other characters and actually playing the game. He's still on, and so he might even have two accounts, and that this might be his spare account. So that is one way I'm making some sales. So the way I'm kind of doing that is, let me see if I can, if I may not be doing it here. So yeah, actually I am. So what I'm doing is I'm setting my bid price at 70%, and then so if you divide 0.7 into 1, you should get like 1.43. And then there's the auction house cut, so you'd also need to divide by 0.95. And then I'm adding in a little bit of like 10% profit if they actually do sell at the bid price. And then I'm doing some other stuff down here where I'm just basically trying to set the max price or the normal price to something a little bit more reasonable, and then every time it expires, the price will drop down a little bit. So I'm actually stepping things down. So it actually might not be noticeable to these guys that I'm reducing the rate, but I would think that they would have noticed by now. The only problem I've noticed too is either it's a bug in TSM, or TSM just can't handle the legendaries. So I've actually sold one 3 days ago. Sorry, I should probably hide these names. And that's another thing. So you can hide the names of who you sold stuff to. So if you're actually sharing on a video, you can hide the people you sold stuff to. So anyway, I did sell one 3 days ago, and that's the other problem, is it pops in here as they're all 175. So that actually might be, yeah, I can see it's actually working correctly. So I've had 5 expires since the last sale, let's say. And I'm actually doing like 12-hour. That's the other thing I should point out. I'm doing 12-hour sales. So the idea is that people will come in here and say, "Oh, this auction has 2 hours left. I can bid on it and win it, and I can save a lot of gold that way." It's worked a couple of times, and I think that might be the way to go if you're trying to get into it, or if you're into it right now and you're encountering a lot of competition. I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. But anyway, the whole idea behind, finally, I think the whole idea with I don't like the way this was all designed, really. And I mean, from a gameplay point of view, I'm fine with it, but I would rather people be able to buy this stuff from an NPC instead of players making this stuff, or just make it a little, not to where you have to make 15 of the items. Make it to where you can just everybody can make whatever rank they need, and you just make stuff as you go instead of making tons and tons of them, and then people just they just post the stuff for a loss. And that's it's kind of a parallel to, let's say, I was thinking that maybe the pharmaceutical industry, where they spend 2 years or 3 years developing a drug. They invest a lot of money, and then they go and make this drug that costs pennies for each pill, but then they end up charging like an exorbitant amount, or at least what it appears to be an exorbitant amount, and that's kind of what seems to be happening in this market here. So it's like the only reason people are able to charge $100,000 for something that really only costs, for me, it's not populating correctly. Let me go back to the auction here. I can show you. So I've actually set up a tooltip too as well called Legendary, which pulls in. It looks at a shopping operation and it sends that information into the tooltip, so I can see, well, these only cost 30,000 to make. Um, and that's the other problem with the legendaries. They're so kind of confusing because the tooltip I'm getting here, I don't think it's representative of what the actual cost is, because they cost a lot more than 8,000 to make. Um, and that leads me to one more thing I want to talk about is there was a guy that came up with a way to do all the legendaries, and I'll put a link in the description so you can maybe follow that. And basically what you do is you import his string and it creates I guess this whole category, legendaries, and all the ranks in there. And so he's actually done a lot of the tedious work. And so what I think what he's done, he's created this shopping operation. So where is it? Okay, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. So he's created this shopping operation for each legendary. So I'll click on that and go to it. So you can see all these shopping operations here. And what he's done is he's basically said, hey, if it's an item level 235, it's going to take 30 of these mat of this particular mat price, and so on and so forth. So that's how he's done it. And then if you actually go into your auctioning operations, you can then reference this shopping op max, which is what that's returning. So anyway, pretty slick stuff. And this is kind of how a lot of people that are selling legendaries are doing it. And like I said earlier, I don't know if it's good or bad to go into the legendary market or not. So I think what you're going to have to do is look at what are the rank 3 and rank 4 selling for. Excuse me. And see if that might be viable to get your money back, or just focus on the piece that you need and make that push it up as high as you want, just so you can create it yourself, or just buy it off the auction house, whatever works for you. I'm going to be buying my cloth stuff. So anyway, y'all take care and have a great day.